So the original idea came from, during the labs, I called around to a friend of mine, Susie McDonough, and she was going to a festival. And she brought out the skirt that she'd made and some chaps that she'd made out of camping chairs that she got the previous year at Electric Picnic. And she was saying she wanted something like warm and dry, but she wanted to look really good. And they looked amazing on her. And I thought, well, you know, why is rain gear so boring? Why can't it be more interesting? So after that, we had to go on into thinking about how to go to showcase, so producing or developing the product for the exhibition. And the first thing I did was I changed the actual logo, because I wanted to target all outdoor people, not just people who were going to festivals. So I was sitting on the trampoline one day and I was thinking, God, the trampoline fabric would be really good to make, you know, it'd be really cool to make a skirt out of or something. And I thought, yeah, tramps are good. So I looked up tramps on online, and it was a porn site. So, so I changed. I really liked the name because it's a little bit controversial, you know, it has different connotations. I really liked that. It's kind of a bit edgy. So I changed it to Tramps Outdoor. So then the two things that I had to think about was, one was the business model that I wanted to go forward with if I wanted to do this properly, and secondly were the actual products that I wanted to develop. So for the business model, I decided that I needed something that I could integrate with my own work as a graphic designer, and I wanted something that I'd be really happy doing, and I didn't want to make the stuff myself, and I didn't really want to, you know, collect recycled stuff because there's just so much time involved. So I decided that I wanted to just design the products and get them made somewhere else. So the next thing was the product. So what actual products was I going to make? So I thought, well, if I go to a festival, what would I like to wear? And I thought, right, well, I sit on the grass a lot, so I need something to keep my bum dry. So a waterproof miniskirt that made sense. Then the next thing was I wanted my hands free because I wanted to drink beer and dance. So I wanted somewhere safe. I could put my phone and my keys and my money, so then a hip bag made sense to me. And then the third thing was, in the evening when you start getting cold, you know, a hat and a scarf, but I wanted something that I didn't have to carry, so it could be on me all the time. So that's where the cowl came from, which is, you probably know what it is, but it's, do you remember the medieval times, the guys, Robin Hood would wear this lovely shaped cape coming down over your shoulders, but it was made of leather. So anyway, I've made a woolen one of them. So that was what I decided to go forward for the actual exhibition itself. So I made the cowl out of blankets from IKEA, and then I made the mini skirt out of shower curtain, also came from IKEA. Very basic, I mean, you know, not sewn very well at all, but it didn't matter for the photos. And then I got an actual fashion designer, so I spent my funding on getting a fashion designer to create a pattern so that so I could send it off to get it produced, so it sits like that. It's changed since, because I didn't really like the Velcro in the end. So that was the exhibition, and then it was on to phase 2, that we had to get a business partner. And I only had one person in mind the whole time. I don't think I would have gone forward with the project if Frank Murphy, who I'm working with now, didn't say yes. I had a great working relationship with him. I've known him for 25 years. I've worked with him, and I trust him. So I invited him along to the exhibition in Dublin, and he had a few glasses of wine, and I told him this was the best thing ever, and he said that he'd help me. So I was glad he didn't change his mind the next day. So he's Frank Murphy.
And what does he do?
I'm going to tell you. So Frank is, for me, it worked out really well because he's in the line of tourist products. So he has warehousing. He sells products to shops all over Ireland, England, America. He ships things in. He works with agents to produce the goods. So for me, it was everything I needed, and he also has an outdoor shop in Dundalk that I was going to be able to test my products in. So for him, it wasn't probably so good because I didn't have a business plan. I didn't really have evidence that these were going to sell at all. I'd done market research, but I couldn't really find anything about the cowl and the miniskirt. So he kind of did it as a favour for me, because he'd known me for so long and wasn't getting much out of it, and he knew he was going to have to be putting a lot of time into it and for possibly no reward. So I suppose for me it was, in that regard, I wasn't his priority. He had his own business to run, and that has caused difficulties a little bit, because everything is a lot slower than I had expected to go, because he's got so much on himself. But we finally, anyway, we talked to an agent from overseas, and she had no interest in doing the products, because I would have been ordering 100 of each product, so 300 products, and she'd be dealing with tens of thousands of products of the same product, and she'd make no money. So Frank, again, called in a favour and said, well, look, I'll do all this stuff with you if you do this stuff for Mella. But again, for her, I'm not a priority, so down the list of things. So we sent off the designs to get made up, and she came back with. So she sent these back to me, which I've since gone to get amended. So this is the mini skirt. That's the mini skirt. Originally it was meant to be waterproof, but it's windproof, it's water resistant, but because it's only 100 pieces, she wasn't going to buy an enormous roll of waterproof fabric, so she had to go to the markets and she had to just buy what was in shops. So that is the downside of only getting a small amount of things made up, but hopefully in the future I'll be able to transfer over to waterproof fabric. This is the cowl. Sorry, this is the finished hip bag that I changed into a belt instead of Velcro. And I had made it, I'm left-handed, so originally I had it there, and then just as she was going to put the orders in, I went, oh my gosh, I'm left-handed. So I wrote to her and said, can you just swap the pattern the other way? So she ended up making it so it's for right-handers, which was great. And then lastly, the cowl, which has since been changed to. So it's a little zip there. So that's the cowl. But I was allowed to make one set of amendments. So I had a few comments about this, and one was it'll sell really well in Muslim countries, and the other was great for fancy dress if you bring your scythe. So I decided to change it to aubergine instead. So that's really it there. The orders have gone through now. We've got 100 of each. They're in Dublin at the moment. I've got a display stand, and I'm going to test them in Dundalk next spring. And I'm going to showcase in January, which is the trade fair for fashion and arts and crafts, and hopefully get orders from there if I can. So that's it. I'm just going to show the video then that Gareth made for me.
Yeah, the pattern on the bag, that's your own design, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I designed the fabric. I had a day to design a piece of fabric.
And you worked with a knitter too?
Yes, I didn't bring that. I actually had another idea for the cowl. I wanted a chunky one for winter, but I don't know anything about knitting, and I chose a really chunky wool. I didn't bring it with me. I should have brought it to show you, but it ended up this fat, it's so heavy. Right. Like you can't. So that was actually. I was delighted. I tried getting it sampled, but I'm not going forward with it because and it would probably cost about £300 to buy. So that was a reject. So anyway, I'll leave you with the video that was made